Hi, today we're going to be doing cardboard weaving, and to begin with you want to get a piece of cardboard and then on both sides you want to mark 2 centimeters. I'm going to repeat this on the other side. Once you've got these 2 lines, you know you don't want to go further beyond the line. And then you want to mark it 1 centimeters, just going across. So these are the notches, and if you want your fabric to be more tighter, you want to create more notches, and in order to get a looser fabric, you want to use bigger notches. So you could go for 2 centimeters or 1.5. So I'm just gonna mark it as 1 centimeters. And I'm gonna repeat it on the opposite side. And then I'm going to just line them up from both sides just to make sure they're even. Once this is done, the next process is to get your pair of scissors and cut the notches all the way down to that first initial line that we created. This helps them all be even. And then I'm going to repeat this on the opposite side. And the next part is to choose your warp. The warp is the yarn, the string that will be holding the whole weave into place, and you go across the board going upwards vertically. So to choose your yarn, you would just get the yarn like this, you wrap it around your fingers, and then you just pull it, and if it rips like this, then you know that this yarn is not going to be able to hold the weave. So if I show you with the one that I've selected for the warp, I'm just going to twist it, pull it, and you can see the difference. It can take the tension that I've put on it, and this is perfect because your warp needs to be able to hold the whole weave together. Now it's time to warp up. So you're going to go across the board and find the first notch on one side, and then you're going to take your string and then just pull it through. What will happen is it will come across the other side of the board. You want to get some sellotape, masking tape, and just tape it down. Allow yourself some space, at least about 2 inches, because you'll be needing this space later on to tie on knots to secure your weave. So now you've got it attached to your board. So you want to take it across to the notch on the opposite side, and then you just want to pull it through. As it goes to the back, you don't want to take it across to the other notch, just across like that. You want to go round to the second notch that it was next door to, and you just pull it through. What should happen is it will create a loop like this. And then you want to take it across the board and repeat this motion. And then round the back, you want to create the loop again. You repeat this process, making sure that you're creating loops at the back as you're pulling it through the board. And you want to keep the tension nice and tight. When I mean tension, you don't want your yarn to be like this, quite floppy, because it will disturb you when you're weaving. So you want to pull it through nice and tight, keep making sure all of them are at the same tension, and just keep this process as you're working across the board. Once you've reached the end, you repeat like you did at the start by just cutting it. Again, leaving a couple of inches. You can see that I've finished with the warping, and I've worked across the board. And on the opposite side, you can see the loops that have been created and then secured on both ends. Now it's time to do the weaving. We're ready for the weaving. So now that we've got the warp on, it's time to do the weaving, which goes on horizontally. And to begin with, I'm going to use this ruler as a shuttle. The shuttle is going to help open up the warp. So I'm going to begin with going over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And then with this ruler that's gone inside, I'm just going to slowly lift it like this. And this allows the warp to open up. I'm going to start off with this piece of fabric. That is just a piece of scrap fabric that I had lying around, donated to me from the local tailor, and I've just cut it into strips to use for this weaving. So it's opened up the warp, and I'm just going to slowly take it through to the other end, and then take the fabric down right to the bottom, and then put the ruler down, and then push it with the ruler. Then I take the ruler out. Now I'm going to do the opposite. Here I started with over, now I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And then again I'm going to repeat with the ruler, just lifting up the warp. With the same fabric, I'm going to work continuously. If I was to just cut strips of fabric and place them into the weave like this, when I take the warp off the cardboard, it would all start falling apart unless I was to stitch it. If I was to use the same strip of fabric continuously, it locks it into place and it works. So I'm just going to take the yarn through here. Whoops. And place it in place, and then again just use the ruler and also my fingers just to get in between and to push it down very securely, taking the ruler out. Now I'm going to introduce a new colour. So I've got this black wool that I had lying around. If you do have a needle, I've got a plastic needle, you can use any sorts of needles as long as the size can take the thickness of the yarn. This is also a good way to weave, it helps. So I'm just gonna go under, over with the needle. As it passes through, I'm just gonna pull it. So I've been continuously just weaving and it looks like I'm reaching the end, but in order to ensure I've got a nice tight weave, I'm just going to take my fingers through and just slowly just push the weave down, making sure it's nice and even. Then it seems that I've actually got another half to do when it seemed like I was caught away. I'm going to allow this one to build, but I've got one that I've been working on in order to show you how to take it off. So this is one I've been working on earlier and it's nice and tight, as you can see as I'm pushing it down. So right, what I've done with this weave, it's the same. I've just been going across with a plain weave, just working with these two colours and just alternating it. So to take the warp off the cardboard, I'm just going to take the sellotape off just on one side, and then I'm going to take the string out, and then the first loop, I'm just slowly going to bend the cardboard. It's quite tight, and I'm just going to pull the loop off, and it just comes off like that. Just down there you can see. And then with this string, I'm just going to take it through that loop that I've just taken off, and it's just gone in like this, and I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to double knot it to make sure it's nice and secure. Then I'm ready to take off the rest of the loops, and I'm just going to bend it through . And it just comes off. I was to show you from the front, just slowly comes off. There you have it, one side. Then I'm going to turn it around and repeat the same process. Taking that loose end, pulling it through, taking the first loop off, then securing it, I'm also going to take the end of the fabric and tie a knot with that string just to make the fabric and the string secured on together. And then bending the cardboard, taking the loops off. This side should be a lot easier to take off because the tension has been released from the first side that we did. The cardboard will look like this at the end. You can reuse it, you can always just cut down this end, remark it on both sides, and then start a new weave, and it's recycling the same, and you've already got the lines there to help you. The fabric will be a lot smaller. And then the two loose ends here, I'm just gonna tie a knot. And secure that. You have it. I'm just going to knitting it. There you have it, a piece of fabric woven all from recycled fabric that would have went to waste. It's nice and sustainable. I've woven a new piece of fabric that can go into anything, to interior, fashion, product, accessories. And it's all done with free materials that we all have around the house. Things that we can collect, ask people to give to us if they know they don't have any use for old fabric. And it all started from a cardboard frame to an initial piece of fabric. Thank you for weaving with me.